Okay, so today I'm going to do a demo for you guys, just showing you how you might be able to make a form out of cardboard. Okay, so this right here is an X-Acto knife. Just make sure you guys can see this. This right here is the adjustment. Right here you can take the blade out. The blade is disposable. Okay. And every once in a while it works itself loose. You just have to retighten it. Okay, so this is, I recommend this for anybody who's going to be making art. This is one of the most valuable tools you can get. They're about, I think they're about $6, $7, something like that. You can find them probably cheaper than that. But they're worth the purchase, especially if you're, like I said, if you're going to be an artist. If not, you can probably just get a box blade. Maybe your parents have a box blade. So just an Amazon box and a box blade and a pencil. Okay, so I'm using a pretty dark pencil. I'll just show you this real quick. Okay, so this is a 4B pencil. The higher the number B, the softer the lead, the darker it's going to be. The higher the number H, the harder the lead, the lighter it's going to be. So the harder the lead is, the less comes off on the paper. Right, so you can think of like H for hard. An HB pencil, if you see that, a HB drawing pencil, that is just a number 2 pencil like you use on standardized tests, right? So we're all used to this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out a letter to make. I'm just going to use a letter, kind of sticking with our graffiti theme, and I'm going to do a very stylized letter S, maybe. Okay, so nothing real difficult. I've got another layer of cardboard underneath here so that I don't end up cutting through to my table. But I really recommend, like I said, if you're going to be in class, we have self-healing mats here. They're great for this. We may use it in just a second. But for right now, I'm just going to use the cardboard, kind of show you what you'd do at home. Okay, so if you can't get a box blade, you can buy an X-Acto knife. If you don't want to buy an X-Acto knife and your parents don't have a box blade, you can go pick up a box blade, I think for a couple dollars, so they're a lot cheaper than an X-Acto knife. But as you can see, an X-Acto knife is a lot different than a box blade. One thing you want to do, never pull the blade toward yourself. So if I'm putting my hand down here and pulling the blade down, that's a no-no because my thumb's right there. Okay, so I want to hold up here, then pull down, right? So I never want to pull the blade toward my own hand. But the main thing is I can almost just about draw with this, okay? So I'm not going to go all the way through that because I don't want to cut any more than that. And I'll show you why in a minute. There's some logistical reasons. So here we go. All right, so that's my shape. Now one thing I can do, I can actually run this cardboard across the edge of my desk with my hand. I gotta be careful because I cut these slots in here. But if I cut this right here, if I rub this right here and then I turn it over and do the other side, you can see just how thin and flexible it gets. All right, so now I've made my piece pretty flexible. And this is just the top piece, okay? So now I've got to think about this thing. It's going to be 3D, so I've got to think about what it's going to look like from the side. And the back's probably going to be very similar to the top. So one thing I could do, I could probably go ahead and trace this first shape to make the back. Now I don't necessarily have to. I could cut it out, redraw it, and try to make it work. I think this is a really good way. The only thing you can see, I keep bumping it every once in a while. So that means I want to definitely make sure that I'm lined up each time I do this. You can see the benefit of the X-Acto knife though. It's really convenient for, almost like I said, just drawing out what you're doing. I want to pop this out and lay it over to the side for later. Okay, that didn't cut quite all the way through, but it's not gonna matter. All right, so now what I gotta think about is the side. I have the top and the bottom, but I need to think about what's gonna go in the side of these. And I want some line quality, right? Like we talked about the thickness and thinness of lines. So one thing I could do, actually measure this and see how long I need to cut. I'm not gonna do that exactly though. I'm gonna, wing it. But this is one way you could do that, is kind of guess. And what we want to do is cut off a little more than what we need. So I'm just gonna measure out about how long I need here. And you lose a little when you go through the curves like this. So I'm gonna have to go a little longer than what I think I need. Okay. And we're back around to the start. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go all the way to the end over here. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna freehand this, but I'm gonna make sure I get a lot of line quality. Okay. And then I'm gonna come up from the other side, do the same thing. You see how I'm getting thick and thin? That's what I'm looking for, okay? So I might need that later. This right here, I'm gonna run against the edge of my desk again, just so that it'll be more flexible, right? So like the first thing I showed you, I'm just gonna run that across the edge of my desk. Both ways, both the front side and the back side. And the more I do that, the more flexible it becomes. But already you can see it's pretty flexible, right? All right, so what I wanna do, I wanna begin gluing these pieces together. All right. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it together a little bit at a time. This is my hot glue gun. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to start building this edge up, gluing it down a little bit at a time. So I'm gonna come down this edge, I'll glue it down first. And what I wanna do, I want to get, minimal amount of glue. You guys can use whatever you have at your disposal. You may not have a hot glue gun, but if you do, if you're going to be here, you will. All right, eventually. But the main thing we want to do is kind of hide the glue as best we can. I'm going to give it a second to cool off. So the thing about hot glue is that while it's hot, it's not really glue. It's too soft to actually bind anything down. But whenever it gets cooler, it'll stay. But the thing is, if you put too much glue on, it'll cool down too quick and it won't be soft enough to actually work as glue either. So you have to have it just the right temperatures at just the right time. That's why I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time. I'm gonna do maybe something like this. This would only work because I've already pre-bent it, right? Now we're gonna cover up. I'm gonna give this a really nice crease, all right, so that it fits in there. I'm gonna cover up, and I maybe put a little too much glue on, but because I can't do quite that much at a time. Let me just get where you guys can see this really good. So I'll wait a little bit and it should be cool. Then come back over here, pre-bend this a little, and glue this next segment, all right? So I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time. Ooh, don't wanna get too much glue at once, right? Whatever you're using, whatever you're doing, you don't wanna do too much at once. You wanna move quick though, because if you don't, he took that back under there. If you don't move quick, it'll all dry. I'm gonna go ahead and smash it out with my finger. It's really hot, I don't recommend doing that. I'm a trained professional. All right, and so then I'm gonna come around, bend this over. So we're not doing too bad. We'll see if I accidentally, if I got enough, if I cut enough of the side here to actually go around, or if I messed up. We're gonna see that in just a minute. Okay, I want to make sure this comes all the way out to the edge, right? Just gonna make sure that's real straight, real clean. Go ahead, put that bend in there. See, it's still very hot, very tacky. All right, and I'll just show you what I'm doing right here. You see how it gets thin, and then it gets really thick, and then it starts getting really thin again, then it stays thin, and now it's starting to get really thick again. So I'm building that side up with a lot of different line quality, right? Here I go again. I'm gonna, ooh, there I go again with all that glue. It's hard to record yourself and do this all at once. I need a better setup, I think. So here I go. That's what it kind of looks like from the inside. I'm just making sure it lines up perfectly with the outside. I'm almost done, right? I got a few more little runs to do. While I'm waiting on that, maybe I can go ahead and pre-bend it. Make sure I got it the way I want it. Go ahead again. Put a little thin stream of glue here. Now I'm going to have this piece up here. So there's several options I can do. I cut this out on purpose so I could raise it up. That means I'm going to have to put something in here. So that means I can go ahead and cut this off. Hopefully it is dry enough. This blade is a little dull. Alright, that means I can come back and do this now in a minute. First I want to finish up the rest of my design here. So I did actually have enough. I had more than enough. I might cut off right here. Go ahead, put a little glue right there to finish it off. A little glue on this side. Alright, so I'm going to come in here now, finish this up. Just got to be patient and wait. Just have to be patient. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down, I think. Maybe something like that. Make sure I got enough. All right, make sure it's pre-creased there. All right, so I'm gonna glue that last piece. Nothing to it. And voila, we now have this really cool thing here. I can probably glue that up to here maybe. I just grab it and take it like that. Raise it up a little because I want to put a little space here. All right, and so then I'll show you how to go from here to here. All right, so now I have this one last piece to fill. Let me kind of shape it the way I want. If you can see, it's almost like a diamond shape, maybe. So at this point, maybe scissors would be more beneficial than my X-Acto knife. Maybe. I don't know. So maybe something like this looks like, and so I will have to bend it right here at this point. Okay. I think we can do it now. So I'm going to try to get a little glue on everything. And maybe I'll hold back up. You see how I got my finger through there, back there to raise this up to where I want it? Okay, that's a pro tip. That's free. Okay, I'm not even going to charge you guys for that. All right. And so, you know, I guess I could have cut the shape a little better. What I'm probably going to do here is trim this when it's all done so that it seems to flow all together. And I might even just put a little bit of glue right there to kind of smooth the transition a little. Maybe I can sculpt that in. Okay, because here's the thing, we're going to cover back over this with another material when we're done. And so no one will be able to see that glue. All right. So pretty cool. So I got some dynamic shape here. And this is very dynamic. Who could have thought you could get something so fluid and has so much movement in it made out of cardboard, right? Really crazy. Now I'm trying to hold this here until this glue gets cooled off, but it's gonna be difficult because that glue is really hot right now, so it's gonna take a minute. All right, so now all I gotta do is put on my back piece, right? Somewhere that I threw it. Here we go. All right. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna glue this part down first, and then I will make this fit afterwards. So I've got so much of this in place already, I think I can do the whole thing if I move quick, especially since this glue is really hot right now. All right, so can I do this all at once? Wow. Okay, that glue is so hot. You see how I'm touching all that glue? Don't do that. Don't do that, okay? It will burn you. I'm using a kind of a low temp gun. That's what I recommend for you know, amateur work like this, for high school. But professionals, I mean, they use glue that it's so hot. Once it touches you, there's nothing you can do. It's gonna burn you bad. And if you try to rub it off, you're just gonna spread the glue and just like rub your skin off. It's not a good thing, not a good thing. So what I'm gonna do, you see how it's changed a little. I'm just gonna modify it. By the way, I know exactly where my finger is here. So always check, always make sure you know where your fingers are at. So I'm gonna bring this down here and glue this down now. All one go, again, because I've already pre-cut it and pre-shaped everything. So it's not as difficult as the side. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that with your work, by all means, don't do it. Don't do it, okay? Just do whatever feels right for you. Okay, so I'm gonna just let this sit for a second, and then we'll come in and fill this gap. And we are done. Will this work? Not quite, it's a little short. Maybe not if I glue that to there. So if I glue this down here, it'll work. One thing I can do, I can take and trace it. That way I know where to cut. Okay, exactly where to cut. See how I'm not cutting toward my fingers? I got them over here to the side. Even that's a little risky though, the way I was doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my glue down. Here, here, here. Even a little glue right there so I can finish this up just like I wanted. Oh, this wasn't my original piece. Goofball. I'm kind of a genius, so. All right, push that into the glue and just give it a couple seconds. I didn't get enough glue right there. Okay, so now what I can do, I can actually come back by this later on. I can take this form and I can cover it in some kind of coating, and then you won't be able to tell what it's made out of. I could lift this tab up here, get my knife down in there. If I wanted to, I could pull this out, and I can glue another little section in here if I want to make this pull out.
Okay, but I'm not gonna bother with it. I think this is good enough for a demo. Really dynamic shape, quickly made. Now your pieces, you want them to be a little nicer than this, right? Because you're turning yours into the college board. All right. I hope this helps everyone.